For the first time, the U.S. launching a deadly military attack on a suspected drug.
At exactly 4:25 a.m. on October 18, 2025, the calm waters south of Corpus Christi turned deadly. On the radar of the USS Tripoli, 3 unidentified vessels appeared from nowhere fast, silent lights out. Their formation was tight, their purpose unknown. But within seconds, infrared scans revealed the truth. What was beneath those decks would change everything. Those ships were packed with industrial barrels containing highly toxic fentanyl chemicals. Beneath the tarps lay cold outlines of heavy machine guns and anti-aircraft weapons. These weren't just smugglers. They were disguised combat units heading straight for the U.S. energy corridor, the vital artery that fuels 1/5 of America's energy supply. A single mistake here could cripple the nation's lifeline. The alert reached U.S. Southern Command in Miami instantly. One short encrypted command came back, hostile confirmed. For years, these waters had been hunted by cartel boats slipping through darkness, but never had they come this far north or this organized. The tension on deck was thick. Everyone knew something unprecedented was unfolding in front of them. Later analysis revealed the flotilla carried enough precursor chemicals to create 6.5 tons of fentanyl, enough to poison over 200 million people. On the bridge, silence gripped the crew. This wasn't a policing mission anymore. It was the opening move of a war that had finally reached America's southern shore. Do you think the United States should strike first to protect its borders or hold back and risk the unthinkable? Comment yes if you support a first strike, no if you believe in restraint, because in just minutes, that choice will determine how this war begins. 22 minutes after the first radar contact, the calm of the Gulf shattered aboard the USS Tripoli. The command echoed down the line, execute Iron Wave. The first AGM-114R Hellfire II missile roared off its rails, slicing through the night at nearly 995 miles per hour. In a blinding flash, the lead vessel vanished in an instant, torn apart in a single heartbeat. What had begun as a quiet patrol had just turned into open combat on American waters. The shock wave ripped through the sea, scattering flames and debris across a half-mile radius. Within seconds, only 2 blips remained on radar. The second strike came from an MH-60R Seahawk, its laser-guided missile hitting dead center. The freighter erupted into a tower of fire, blasting chemical vapors hundreds of feet skyward, later confirmed to be ammonium acetate, a core ingredient in synthetic opioids. The third vessel damaged but afloat drifted helplessly as U.S. Marines moved in to seize it. What they uncovered left every Washington analyst stunned. Hidden beneath tarps were encrypted satellite transmitters, coastal navigation charts, and U.S. oil route schematics connecting Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. The evidence was undeniable. This wasn't a typical drug run. It was a coordinated operation to sabotage America's energy supply. By flooding the nation with synthetic narcotics while striking its fuel network, the cartels aimed to spark economic chaos, mass addiction, and political leverage all at once. And the deeper truth, they weren't acting alone. Intelligence soon revealed foreign military advisors were behind it, supplying navigation systems, encrypted communication modules, and advanced tech that turned a cartel fleet into a shadow army. At 5:02 a.m., the president signed an emergency order from the Situation Room. From that moment on, every cartel vessel would be classified as a hostile combatant. It was a line no American administration had ever dared cross. The era of narco warfare was over, and the United States had just declared open war before dawn even broke. Evidence pointed straight to foreign military advisors providing advanced navigation tech, encrypted comms, and targeting systems, transforming a narco network into a covert fighting force. At 5:02 a.m., inside the Situation Room, the president signed an emergency directive. From that second on, all cartel vessels were officially marked as hostile combatants. No administration had ever drawn such a line before. The age of drug cartels operating unchecked was finished. The United States had just declared open war before the sun even rose. 2 ships destroyed, 1 drifting, and what investigators found on board changed everything. Chinese-made guidance chips, U.S. oil route schematics, proof that foreign powers were now testing America's defenses. If you believe that's true, hit the like button, because what came next was full-blown retaliation. By sunrise US, forces thought the danger had passed, but they were wrong. At 7:05 a.m., radar stations along the Texas coastline suddenly flared to life with ghost signatures no one could explain. 6 fast-moving aerial objects skimmed barely 200 feet above the waves, racing north from Cuban airspace. Each one showed a metallic core and an abnormal thermal pattern unmanned drones, but far more advanced than anything a cartel should have. Inside the USS Tripoli's Combat Information Center, operators watched the swarm close in. 3 minutes to coastal intercept. The command rang out, "Scramble F-35s. Engage immediately." 2 F-35B Lightning IIs launched from the deck, slicing through low fog like silent predators. The first missile struck at Mach 1.2, vaporizing one drone midair. The second was shredded by the ship's Phalanx CIWS, its tungsten rounds ripping the target into molten fragments. But 4 drones kept coming faster than anyone expected, weaving erratic zigzags to jam radar locks. The air lit up with tracer fire and countermeasures. What looked like a simple skirmish was quickly turning into a coordinated assault, one that could hit US soil within minutes if even a single drone broke through. At 7:13 a.m., one drone broke formation and dove hard its target, the Galveston Bay refinery, which produced nearly 14% of Texas's daily fuel output. Seconds later, a white flash erupted over the Gulf. The blast measured 2.3 kilotons, sending shockwaves strong enough to shatter windows 20 miles inland. Flames engulfed the refinery's outer tanks, burning for 6 straight hours. The attack wasn't just physical, it was psychological. America had just witnessed a direct hit on its own energy heartland. Damage estimates soon topped $48 million. But the real impact wasn't financial, it was psychological. By 8 a.m., news of the Galveston explosion was everywhere, flooding every screen in America. Markets shook cable networks, demanded answers, and lawmakers called it the second Pearl Harbor. Meanwhile, critics accused the administration of triggering a regional war. Fear quickly turned to fury as Americans asked the one question no one wanted to answer: if the cartels could strike Texas, what city would be next? Intelligence traced the assault to Tren Dirigua, a ruthless cartel warlord commanding more than 600 fighters and an entire drone supply chain stretching from Venezuela to Mexico. This wasn't random, it was retaliation. At 7:40 a.m., emergency defense protocols lit up the entire Gulf grid. U.S. Southern Command raised the alert to Condition Crimson, the highest level since 9/11. For the first time in history, a non-state actor had just launched a coordinated air assault on the United States itself. Across encrypted radio traffic, analysts caught fragments of a repeating message buried in static phase 2 begins at sunrise. The war was no longer offshore, it had arrived on American soil. Should the United States treat these cartels as terrorist states? Drop a comment yes or no. Stay tuned, because when the sun rises, the hunters become the hunted. And by mid-morning, the counterstrike mission had already begun to take shape. Task Force Horizon, a joint strike group of
nearly
312
14% of
US Marines, DEA tactical agents, and Coast Guard interdiction teams moved south under strict radio silence. Intelligence from RQ-180 Sentinel drones detected an unusual heat bloom beneath a coastal hillside near Veracruz, a maze of steel containers, power conduits, and exhaust vents. Analysts believed they'd located the very source of the drone swarm that hit Texas. As the task force advanced toward the site, diplomatic tension in Mexico City began to boil. Tension grew fast. The Mexican president demanded clarification, accusing Washington of violating national sovereignty. Behind closed doors, Pentagon officials replied coldly, "If you can't control your territory, we will." Across the Atlantic, NATO envoys quietly backed the United States, while Beijing and Caracas condemned the actions as imperialist aggression. The Gulf of Mexico had suddenly turned into a diplomatic minefield. At 10:42 a.m., the first wave hit 2 EA-18G Growlers, jammed every signal within a 40-mile radius, while MH-60R Seahawks deployed Marine Raiders onto the shore. The air reeked of salt and burning fuel as boots hit the sand. Buried beneath the dunes lay an entire underground facility, a concrete reinforced factory lined with 40 rocket tubes, each marked with the CJNG insignia and a single word etched in English: revenge. Nearby racks of carbon fiber drone wings and Russian-stamped munitions crates filled the chamber. It was undeniable proof that this wasn't cartel craftsmanship but foreign engineering. As the raiders breached the main tunnel motion sensors triggered timers, C4 charges began blinking red across the control room. Navy EOD teams had just 38 seconds to defuse them before the entire site went up in fire. They succeeded with only a second to spare, preventing an explosion that could have wiped out everything within a half-mile radius. In one decisive moment, the U.S. had uncovered the enemy's beating heart, a command center capable of launching 120 drones every hour, disguised as a simple fishing depot. As the dust settled, Marines found an encrypted laptop still transmitting data to an unknown destination. On its flickering screen, a single line of code repeated over and over again: Phase 2 confirmed. Stand by for retaliation. The Marines didn't need a translator, they knew exactly what it meant. The hunt had only just begun. If that shocked you, share this video. People need to understand what's really happening beneath the surface. Because what came next wasn't an arrest, it was an airstrike. By mid-afternoon, the United States had seen enough. The retaliation would be swift, calculated, and absolute. The war that began in the shadows was now being fought in full daylight, and the world was about to witness the next phase of Operation Iron Wave. Nearby Marines uncovered stacks of carbon fiber drone wings and crates stamped with Russian insignias, hard proof this wasn't cartel ingenuity but foreign engineering. When raiders breached, the main control tunnel motion sensors triggered an automated timer. C4 detonators began flashing across the walls like red fireflies. Navy EOD specialists had just 38 seconds to cut the main circuit before everything turned to ash. They succeeded at the very last second, stopping an explosion powerful enough to erase a half-mile radius. In that moment, the U.S. had discovered the enemy's hidden heart. The underground base turned out to be a fully operational command hub, capable of launching 120 drones per hour, cleverly disguised as a small fishing outpost. As the debris settled, one encrypted laptop kept streaming data to an unknown external server. Across the cracked screen, a single line of code repeated endlessly: Phase 2 confirmed. Stand by for retaliation. The Marines didn't need translation to understand the message. The war had only just evolved. What came next would shake the hemisphere. If that revelation stunned you, share this mission. The world needs to see what's really unfolding beneath the surface, because what followed wasn't an arrest. It was a full-blown airstrike. By mid-afternoon, Washington had seen enough. The counterattack was relentless and precise. At 14:45 p.m., two B-2 Spirit stealth bombers lifted off from Whiteman Air Force Base, slicing silently through the stratosphere. Each carried 12 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000 pounds apiece, built to tear through mountain fortresses. Their next target, the heart of the Sierra Madre Range. Intelligence confirmed 3 hidden cartel command compounds deep in the mountain's drone hubs, built with foreign support. At the same time, over the Gulf of Mexico, the USS Lassen and USS Hopper fired 22 Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles toward the Veracruz and Tamaulipas coasts. Each carried a 1,000-pound warhead and an electromagnetic pulse module designed to erase every signal within a 60-mile radius. On satellite, feeds streaks of fire arced through the clouds before plunging into the jungle. Moments later, the entire horizon erupted in white, a chain of detonations that lit the mountains like daylight. Inside those mountain bunkers, analysts later discovered foreign contractors and cartel engineers working side by side. The impact was catastrophic. Every data node, antenna array, and drone assembly bay was obliterated across a 4-square-mile zone. By 15:07 p.m., all 3 targets had gone completely dark, 0 transmissions, 0 survivors. From space, satellite feeds showed only a smoldering scar carved into the Sierra Madre. As smoke drifted across the ridges, EA-18G Growlers swept the skies, jamming every frequency south of the Rio Grande to ensure no signal escaped the blackout. Meanwhile, over the Gulf, F-18 Super Hornets hunted for surviving vessels. One disguised freighter posing as a fishing boat was obliterated by a 2,000-pound JDAM, igniting a fireball visible 40 miles away. Minutes later, a second ship loaded with nitrate-based fuel tanks exploded, turning the sea's surface into a boiling inferno. Back in Washington, the president gave one chilling directive: total blackout, no warnings, no mercy. The mission had shifted from defense to absolute eradication, and the enemy was running out of ocean. At 15:30 p.m., U.S. Cyber Command breached the enemy's digital network. One by one, Cartel drone feeds froze mid-flight and plunged into the ocean like burning meteors. In less than 15 minutes, 73 aerial threats were neutralized. By sunset, the horizon over the Gulf blazed red with flames and oil smoke. The United States had unleashed its full might, and for the first time since the conflict began, the cartels were silent. But everyone inside the Situation Room knew the quiet wouldn't last long. Over the Gulf, F-18 Super Hornets hunted the last surviving vessels. One freighter masked as a simple fishing ship was struck by a 2,000-pound JDAM, creating a massive fireball visible from 40 miles away. Minutes later, another ship loaded with nitrate fuel tanks detonated, transforming the sea's surface into a churning inferno. Back in Washington, the president gave a single decisive order: total blackout, no mercy. Every transmission, every signal, every trace of the enemy was to be wiped from existence permanently. At 15:30 p.m., the Cyber Warfare Division of U.S. Southern Command struck back online. One by one, enemy drone feeds froze in midair and crashed into the sea like flaming comets. In under 15 minutes, 73 aerial threats were neutralized.
Nearly 14% of
the entire Gulf horizon glowed with fire and black smoke curling over the waves. The United States had responded with unmatched power, and for the first time since the war began, the cartel networks had gone completely silent. The message was clear: retaliation had a price. Do you believe America should strike first before being attacked? Drop your answer below, because the next stage of this war won't start with a missile, it'll start with a signal. As night fell, the horizon burned bright red, and the echoes of the counterstrike faded into the sea. Smoke rose from Veracruz like black pillars against the sky. Operation Iron Wave had officially ended, but its consequences were only just beginning. The world was about to see how far the United States would go to defend its shores. Across Pentagon live feeds, the Gulf shimmered orange, littered with wreckage and oil slicks stretching more than 42 nautical miles. Every ship, every drone hub, every cartel base within range had been reduced to ashes. By 8 to 10 p.m., the report from Southern Command came in 29. Confirmed targets: destroyed 73 drones, neutralized 0 civilian casualties. Financial analysts estimated cartel losses at $2.8 billion, including 3 offshore refineries, 2 cyber relay stations, and more than 18,000 pounds of chemical precursors either seized or destroyed. But beneath the celebration, new data revealed something far darker. But behind the victory reports, new intel from Cyber Command revealed a darker truth: a massive cryptocurrency trail stretching through Caracas, Managua, and Bogota. It pointed to a coordinated retreat, not a collapse. The enemy wasn't defeated, it was evolving. On board the USS Tripoli, exhausted Marines stood along the deck helmets, off eyes fixed on the burning horizon. Many hadn't slept in over 20 hours. The air reeked of oil and salt, mixing victory with unease. Even in triumph, they could feel the next fight waiting beyond the waves. Intelligence intercepts from the Yucatan suggested cartel remnants were regrouping fragments of the CJNG, merging with Venezuelan mercenaries and rogue Eastern European tech specialists. What began as a cartel war was mutating into something far more dangerous: a hybrid conflict fought with both code and gunpowder. By 20:40 p.m., a final encrypted transmission from the Pentagon sealed the night Iron Wave complete. Maintain readiness. Phase Delta pending. In Washington, officials called it the most successful maritime operation since Panama, but strategists understood the real message: the border hadn't moved, it had expanded. America was no longer defending just its shores, it was protecting its digital and economic arteries across the hemisphere. The sea was calm again, but beneath that stillness lay a new reality. The next war wouldn't begin with a missile, it would begin with a signal. And somewhere deep in the jungles of South America, a new network was already coming online. As dawn rose over the Pacific, the world watched the aftermath of Operation Iron Wave unfold across global headlines. Oil prices surged and markets trembled from Caracas to Beijing. The message was clear: America had redrawn the map of modern warfare. As morning light broke over the Pacific, the aftermath of Operation Iron Wave spread across every major headline. Oil prices surged overnight while global markets in Caracas and Beijing wavered under the shock. Satellite images of Veracruz revealed nothing but vast craters where fortified cartel strongholds once stood. What had started as a regional drug bust had spiraled into a full-blown geopolitical quake, a warning to every hostile network that America's reach extended far beyond its borders. The era of quiet deterrence was over. The world had just witnessed the birth of a new kind of warfare, fast, digital, and absolute. Inside diplomatic circles, allies hailed the strike as a turning point. NATO analysts called it the first hybrid war victory of the 21st century, where precision bombs, cyber operations, and human intelligence blended into one seamless weapon. For America's adversaries, the message was impossible to miss. The United States doesn't negotiate with chaos, it dismantles it. Behind closed doors, the Defense Intelligence Agency released a classified report confirming several cartel factions had received technical aid from foreign state proxies nations intent on destabilizing U.S. influence across Latin America. But their plan had backfired spectacularly. The lightning-fast coordination between the Marines, Navy, DEA, and Cyber Command showcased what decades of deterrence had built: a single, unified machine of overwhelming power. From the ashes of Veracruz came a harsh new realization. Security was no longer limited by borders. The modern front line ran through fiber optic cables, satellite constellations, and global trade routes. Every convoy, every data stream, every drone transmission was now part of the same war, a silent struggle for dominance shaping the century ahead. Yet one truth still stood unbroken: when America is threatened, it unites. From the steel decks of the USS Tripoli to command centers in Miami and Washington, every soldier, sailor, and agent stood as one, relentless, disciplined, and unyielding. Behind closed doors, the Defense Intelligence Agency released a classified report confirming that several cartel factions had received technical assistance from foreign state actors, nations determined to weaken U.S. influence in Latin America. But their plan had backfired. The swift coordination between U.S. Marines, the Navy, DEA, and Cyber Command proved the true strength of American deterrence. Decades of training had built a military machine capable of neutralizing multi-domain threats before
nearly
they ever
14%
reached
of
American
tech.
soil. From the rubble of Veracruz came a deeper realization: the fight for security could no longer be contained by geography. The battlefield had gone global, extending into the digital and economic veins of the modern world. Every convoy, every data cable, every drone signal now belonged to the same invisible war, a silent contest for dominance shaping the century ahead. Yet in all its complexity, one truth stayed unbroken: when America is threatened, it unites. From the steel decks of the USS Tripoli to the command centers in Miami and Washington, every soldier, sailor, and agent stood shoulder to shoulder, focused, relentless, and unyielding. They carried not only weapons, but the weight of a promise that liberty will never bow to fear. As the camera swept across the dark waters of the Gulf, the narrator's voice softened into calm resolve. The border didn't move, the battlefield did. And wherever that battlefield shifts, the Marines will be the first to stand. The screen faded to black, leaving only the echo of engines and the slow hum of the sea. The war had changed form, but its purpose remained clear: to protect the nation's freedom no matter where the next signal comes from. If you believe in the strength of those who stand guard while the world sleeps, hit subscribe, share this mission, and comment below. Do you think America's enemies truly grasp what happens when they cross the line? Because as Operation Iron Wave proved, history never forgets those who stood their ground. Every generation faces its defining test, and this one is ours. The sea may rest, the night may fall, but the watch never ends. Follow me, and together we'll keep our eyes on the horizon, where the next battle won't start with noise, but with silence.